A school system, one where all students succeed, seems impossible. The one educator has only one mouth, but students are all different. The first step to solving any problem, what is the problem? Our century-old school system is trying to solve the wrong problem, how to get students to learn at the same pace. Impossible. Students are all different. The right problem so school districts succeed? New science has the answer. Hi, my name is Robert Caveney, founder of Schoolio, schoolio.org. I've spent the last 10 plus years packaging new knowledge into the lead-out method so school districts succeed by solving the right problem, which is what new science tells us it is. Too many students don't yet have inside what they need to succeed to learn. Instead of succeeding, too many goof off, or short attention, or stress or even trauma, or perhaps they just give up too easily. This is in class. To learn at their own pace for parts of the day is even more challenging. We have the same problem. Too many don't yet have inside what they need to successfully use the very freedom they need to learn and help each other learn in their own learning zones. Why are we so certain this is the right problem? These New York Times bestsellers, summarizing decades of research, tell us inside is the key to success in school and life. Wellness, hope, to lead from inside with passion and perseverance. What solves the right problem? An old idea with new sciences and techniques. Educating. The original meaning, that is, from the Latin educere. It's a beautiful idea. To lead out the student from inside so students lead themselves more independently, more autonomously. How do we educate? Inner educational exercises. What we know from a whole new branch of psychology, positive psychology, combined with knowledge of neuroplasticity, is that leading students through inner educational exercises develops positive new neural networks in the brain. Can we really do this? It's already been done. Both Eva Fugit in Oakland, California, and Marva Collins in Southside Chicago educated to get students inside what they need to succeed, resulting in spectacular academic learning success. Ms. Fugit, over the course of the school year, led students through a gamut of inner educational exercises. Students became able to ask and better hear the wise part within that we all have, enabling better choices, following through on those choices, the skill of the will, wellness, more exercises inside. Did students succeed? Ms. Fugit's fifth graders, 95% African American, came in reading at a 2.4 grade level, not even third grade. By the end of the school year, the average reading level was 6.0, an average growth of 3.6 years. 2 students were placed in a class for the gifted. Parents said things like, "Well, I've certainly been wondering what's been happening. He's changed so much." Another about her daughter, "What's this about goals? She does her homework as soon as she gets home. She says she's winning her goal." Brian arrived with a well-earned reputation for fighting, but in 6th grade, Brian is now an honor student. Writes a paper, the first line saying, "I learned in Ms. Fugit's class how to control myself." Brian is saying he became educated, able to lead himself from inside. This spectacular success is all documented in Ms. Fugit's book, He Hit Me Back First. Notice the subtitle, Development of the Will in Children for Making Choices. You may be wondering, why haven't others copied this successful approach? The simple answer, very few have even heard of Ms. Fugit or her book. Unlike Ms. Fugit, Ms. Collins was nationally famous, and yet no one has copied her success. Even other teachers in the school Ms. Collins expanded to were not able to succeed. Why not? Because we didn't know what she was actually doing. Even Ms. Collins did not know. She said things like, "There is no secret. I'm just a teacher. I work hard and have a positive attitude." To copy her success, we need to know what to copy, but we didn't know what to copy. Now we do. Now we can watch the same 2 60-minute documentaries that made her famous and see what others did not. Here is Ms. Collins educating, not teaching, instilling hope, getting students inside what they need to succeed.
When they walk in the door, I will say to them, welcome to success, say goodbye to failure, because here you are going to fail. I'm not going to let you fail. You're here to win. You were born to win. And if I have to care more about you than you care about you, that's the way it will be.
And here's Ms. Collins evoking the will from inside with an affirmation every morning.
This day has been given to me.
This day has been given to me.
Fresh and clean.
Fresh and clean.
I can either use it
I need to use it
or throw it away.
or throw it away.
I promise that it shall be used,
I promise that it shall be used,
not lost.
not lost.
I will be superior in my ability,
I will be superior in my ability,
in my thoughts,
in my thoughts,
in my deeds,
in my deeds,
and in my actions.
and in my actions.
And you must be.
And here is one of a gamut of, she called them sermons, let's call them educational lessons. This one for stiffening students' resolve.
People predict anything they want, but only we can determine whether it comes true or not. I can say, oh, you're so stupid, but that's my prediction, but only you can make it come what? That's why we should never let people tell us what we can, what we can't, what? Only you can determine what happens. People predict, I determine.
And what about the learning? Right out of the gate, the school year begins with great lessons from great literature, combining educating and learning. For example, this from Marva Collins' Way, co-written with Sylvia Tomarkin. The first thing we are going to do, children, is an awful lot of believing in ourselves. Clearly, this is not teaching of math or science or reading, followed immediately by teaching, and hands out an excerpt from Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay, Self-Reliance. To groans from the students, the words are big. She explains diacritical marks. The breve over the E in self means the short sound eh. The macrons over the first E and I in reliance mean long, vowels that say their own names. And back to educating. What is the title, sweetheart? Don't just sit there with your mouth shut. If you don't know, then say, Mrs. Collins, I don't know. Don't ever be afraid of making a mistake. If you can't make a mistake, you can't make anything. Ms. Collins is educating students to feel good and fearless even when making a mistake. Students graduate to Shakespeare using a children's adaptation. Macbeth was a favorite. It has witches, ghosts, and a murder, which naturally Ms. Collins uses to educate. When Macbeth has second thoughts about killing Duncan, Ms. Collins asks, what does Lady Macbeth do? She calls him a coward, said Cindy. She makes fun of him for not being man enough to do it, added Patrick. How many of you have had that happen to you? Did you ever have your friends call you a coward or a baby or a chicken because you didn't want to go along with something? If he liked himself, if he had self-respect, he would not have had to prove anything, would he? The constant repetition of educating, every day, all year, got inside what students need to succeed, and it stayed with them.
Honey, you're brilliant.
That's right.
Yeah, especially Craig. She would take his head and raise it up. Speak up, honey, you're brilliant.
That's right.
And, you know, after someone telling you that
Every day.
every day, 5 days a week,
Confidence.
for 3 or 4 years, you know,
true.
that's in you. That becomes a part of you. You are brilliant, honey.
And did students succeed? Brilliantly. Toward the end of the school year, at 9 a.m. in 1977, Zay Smith of Chicago Sun-Times showed up unannounced at Ms. Collins' school, which at the time was on the second floor of her home. From the column he later wrote, I wasn't prepared for what I saw. 4-year-olds writing sentences like see the position and Aesop wrote fables, discussing diphthongs and diacritical marks by name. Second graders reciting passages from Shakespeare, Longfellow, and Kipling. Third graders learning about Tolstoy, Sophocles, and Chaucer. For the 1995 documentary, 60 Minutes hired a statistician. Here is Maury Safer with the results.
So we went a step further and asked Dr. Guy Stewart, a professional statistician here in Chicago, to compare the 33 former students with their peers. He told us, statistically, 1 should have been murdered, at least 2 in prison, and 5 on welfare. Marva's graduates are all alive, none are in prison, and none are on welfare. Could you have got lost in the streets of the West Side?
Most definitely. Very easily. Very easily.
A lot of my friends who didn't go to Marva Collins around high school is where they got caught up in things, where school just wasn't their focus in life, and they just went their ways, be it gangs or whatever else they did outside of basketball.
Where do you expect to be 10 years from now?
10 years from now. Judge. A law professor, actually. I said that I wanted my master's by 25, and I'm going to have my master's by 25, and then I'm going to be sitting in law school.
I would plan to be working with the Nation of Islam as far as dealing with agriculture and agribusiness.
You're studying agriculture now?
Yes.
I am going to have my own line of clothes. Not, I hope to. I am going to have my own line of clothes.
Married with my family, working hard in my church, and I'm opening my school. It's going to be very similar to this one.
And Erica Pace, she wants to open a long-term homeless shelter. Erica, once described as retarded, graduated from college last May, summa cum laude.
Ms. Fugit and Ms. Collins have both passed away. For school districts to spectacularly succeed, as they did, it's very simple. Stop trying to solve the wrong problem, an impossible problem. Get students to learn at the same pace. Start using the knowledge packaged into the lead-out method to solve the right problem, a beautiful problem. How to lead out students to get inside what they need to succeed. Help others discover how students succeed. Like, subscribe, and share this video.